What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. Man, you guys are bonkers about penny stonks. I get hit up more about them than anything else. John, what's good out of gold? What's good out of brothers? What's good out of the megatons? I do get that I'm always asking what's good, so it's only fair that you get to do it back. I'm gonna take more of a stream attitude to this video. I want to go over the many layers of the onion that is, though, penny stonks, because they're anything but easy, even when armed with the knowledge and potential and possibilities. A lot of things have to go right for that double, triple, quadruple, quintuple up in price that so often does happen in Yu-Gi-Oh! And then there's also opportunity cost. Where else can you be spending your money? I'm not a financial advisor channel. I don't know your bankroll, your ability to hold on, how you might be overextending, and surprising enough, I do not have time-traveling info brokers that tell me the future of card prices, but I will show a bit of my mentality of what I like to go for and what I'm more so okay with, which is sometimes infinitely holding on to a card and taking the L, which is not probably the correct way to do things. Ignister Island is a secret rare that I really like in this example, and I'll give the kind of potential upsides for it. I specifically like the secret rare, and I do think the ultra rare one day could be $1 to $1.50, which percentage of profit is great, but then think about the seller fees and the stamp, etc., what it actually drains out of that price versus the potential upside of the secret rare. That's where I like it a lot more. Second off, I could see 5 years, 10 years down the line, people going through binders, looking at this card. Oh, I remember this card. It's Summon's the crazy boss towers monster, right? And it was used with that engine. Oh, it was so cool. And seeing the actual card itself, it has a nice look to it. Out of Ignition Assault, it does have an unlimited edition, the last set to get special editions here as well. So I'd be going for the first edition, which now starts under $5. Whenever I reference penny stonks, it's usually a $5 and under card. So this barely hits the threshold, but the potential upside is they continue to release cards for this archetype as recently as Brothers of Legend / Animation Chronicle in the OCG. I could see that trend continuing to happen. The question is, how good will it be? It became a rogue deck. It's on Fallout. People are selling their deck right now, moving on, going to other stuff. That's why the potential to buy it for this price is there. People are letting it go. Personally, I would think of picking them up slowly, though. I wouldn't be throwing my money at the screen trying to get as many as possible. I would be working these into trades, going, oh, you have this in your binder? Well, okay, go ahead and throw this in, and it makes the deal, giving you a little upside in value and also something to sit on there as an investment, so to speak. But realistically, I just like these kinds of secret rares, these kinds of cards, more so than their counterparts out of the 10s, because I think just naturally, over time, that tie to the anime, even though it's one of the looser animes that doesn't have as much of attraction when it comes to Vrains, and then that ability to continue to get updated support, there's multiple layers that help it go up rather than, yeah, it'll just go up over time, and guessing because of that. Another example would be Obedience School. I really like this card for its actual potential as a card. Player Brain can make a lot of trouble with Market Brain, though. Could this card get another reprint down the line? Yes. Is it scheduled to? Absolutely not. It was printed last in Battles of Legend Armageddon, which was its first reprint in a very long time, since the 2014 Mega Pack. And how ripped open was Battle of Legends Armageddon? A lot. So there's people probably with stacks of these that don't even know they're $1 to $2 or haven't even bothered. So there's a lot of future potential for them, yet it has creeped up to this price for its ultra rare, and the super rares are very low in quantities overall still. This is one of those cards that I like to look at. It got hype when Tri-Brigade came around. It has a high future potential for play and threshold within the game, yet it could never pan out. Again, you have to have things go right, along with potential hype, along with those maybes to see it get there. Yet this one has already gone up over time. You can check out the graph here. When we do look at that full year, you see that spike at one point, and it's really retained it so far. Zombie World, when the ultra rare dropped out of Dual Overload, I told you guys this was previously $20. I think I would be picking these up over time and adding. You've made some decent money if you did pick these up when they were much, much lower. And you can see over time, it's had dips, it's gone back up. But with future zombie support always coming out, whether it's great, bad, okay, just another generic extender, zombies continue to actually come out there and the work. And A lot of the focus is usually on this card. The original Legendary Collection Joey's World has recovered a bit, not to that $18, $20 mark, but I still do like both of these ultra rare versions, and usually when it comes to a Legendary Collection First Edition, I would take that over, say, the Dual Overload the version. And then I pointed out this card around that same time, and it's done absolutely nothing. It's still lower in quantities than it used to be, but the ultra rare and Astral Pack super rare are still just waiting. And what are they waiting for? Well, the potential for a Structure Deck R, which hasn't happened, but we just got Agents, and then that could not be a Structure Deck. It could be split up in the product, and we can see a holofoil reprint of this at the same time. Those are some of the worst case scenarios that could happen if you're sitting on a card like this, while also watching over here. Does that stop it from being a great penny stonk? Absolutely not. It's a pretty good potential card that still could work its way into the game, even without a Structure Deck R, and then face down other cards. I believe this is Ghost Overable. I'd have to read the effect, but yeah, you do banish it and then it activates there. My point being, though, there's counters to it, Droll Lock, all these other things that are a problem for this card, yet it could just take a little spark of hype to end up having it go up, and then you might not want to be caught holding when the actual cards get here, because the reprint could come along with it that is holofoil. So a lot of things, again, have to go right, and then your timing has to be right sometimes with penny stonks. And if you got this when I last called it as a penny stonk, you've been sitting, I believe, nearly a year at this point without a game, despite the potential and oh my goshness of it. Secret Slayers has some secret rares of the Golden Land cards, and they're going lower in quantities and slowly back up in prices. Achoo, people are allergic to gold rares. You can see that the most at the top end with Eldritch the Golden Lord starting to spike back up here a lot, $75, $78. It had crashed back down into the 50s and is starting to spike up once again. But on the lower end, if they're playing this, they're probably playing the other cards unless they're doing a unique engine, and those cards, lower in quantities, up in price, which is only natural when people are avoiding one part of the deck in a certain rarity, they will go for the others. And then finally, keeping in tune with the community, Branch I actually don't think is that great of a penny stonk. It has 3 versions, one of which is super rare, 2 are commons, one's a DR common of all things, which actually can trump a super rare in terms of its value, and the super is all the way back to Fusion Enforcers. This is seeing a tick up in play over on Dueling Book right now, so it's that player brain that has to register, okay, on paper this is great, which could cause it to spike, but do I actually go for it? And my answer is no. Whenever my player brain disagrees, I tend not to. This reads, when a fusion monster or monsters on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target one of the fusion materials in your graveyard that was used for the fusion summon and special summon it. A lot of the Albaz players are testing this out right now, and while it sits out there, it doesn't really push forward your turn all that much necessarily, unless you're the one doing the destroying. Now, to be fair, I have yet to actually see this in play. Somebody gave me data of its play point, and my player brain says, do I really want this out there versus something that helps build my turn, or could be a real trap against my opponent, or could be something that I could be doing? It's more of a haha, do something to me, unless I am the one doing the destruction and that kind of stuff. So I do feel like, yeah, you could also be ramming cards, but then you're probably also in an uphill situation when you're, using this and then trying to get a material back out of it. I think it's an okay card, but again, it sounds great on paper, and I feel like there's just better cards and the person to play. And that pretty much ends my talk on penny stonks, other than more of the theoreticals and how it will actually play out. It's a lot of work sitting on a stack of cards, and then when it finally happens, being in crunch time, being on top of it, deciding how many to sell, where you're happy with it, and do you want to hold on to any. It's a lot of self-questions, and then it's a lot of having to happen rights and timings and bottlenecks of your actual ability to output cards, shipping, and then expected losses. This is a term that doesn't come up a lot. What do you actually expect to go wrong in terms of just putting the envelope on and people claiming they didn't get the card and having to refund the people and then lose your investment also? There's a lot that goes into this side of buying, selling, and trading cards that people, I feel like, overshadow, and they just go, rather than that, oh, I was right on this penny stonk all along, look at me. I think it's still worth it. despite all of this, I am somebody that really enjoyed doing this as a full-time vendor, but if you're part-time to just barely into it, it's probably not the best worth of your time versus that potential to have great expanses in percentages of profit. Do consider that when going for penny stonks and the amount that you're getting. Glacial Beast, Polar Penguin. Maybe if you were on Penguin penny stonks, this is getting played in the actual Penguin decks. It reads, if this card is special summoned, you can target one monster your opponent controls, return it to the hand. If this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target a card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. Again, you end up banishing those cards, usually in Penguins, with other effects being applied, and you can only use one effect per turn and only once that turn. Yet this man's has gone up, and despite how much Battle of Legend Armageddon has been opened, is headed to be a $4 card on this front page. My opinion is this is one of those cards I wouldn't have called personally as a penny stonk, or maybe even set aside. I wouldn't have thought the Penguins would be putting all that effort into special summoning this and working with it, yet here they are doing it. Soul Servant has huge buyout proportions here, which is kind of crazy to me. It's just going way up for the first edition, and yeah, Battle of Chaos is on the horizon, which is DM era goodness, but you also have looming Legendary Duelist Season 3 poised to reprint a lot of the cards out of, you know, Legendary Duelist 6 and 5, which would encompass and include Soul Servant. I don't think they'll be missing a lot of the stuff. All of the Legendary Duelists have done a pretty good job on the reprint front, and kind of wild to see that show of, well, do you want to not just play it for 6 months? You better be buying it now. The support's around the corner. We see this horse and pony show a lot when it comes to these cards, and people actually spending the money and buying into it rather than letting the market cool on cards like this where they used to. And used to, it was only the meta. Also, like Link Rebo, the jump version, it made sense going into a WCQ versus not having your reprint, but stuff like this in the rogue category that's just like casual bait. This does not make sense for how people are spending their money, in my opinion. Inspector Border is going up for the first edition. I feel like plenty of people playing stun decks, you know, are around, but I don't know about this one. First edition back up to $15+ right now, with actual sales around the $10 mark. Let me know if you're an Inspector Border duelist and you're just giving people headaches at remote duels, or if you really think this could go to the next level and really surprise people once again. Evil Hero Infernal Prodigy. Apparently this is played somewhere in Edison format. It reads, if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand in face-up attack position, and it does have hero in the name. It is also a fiend, not a warrior, since it's an evil hero. If you tribute this card to tribute summon any elemental hero, destiny hero, or evil hero monster, you also draw a card during this turn's end phase. I think this card's okay. It's a super rare. Let me see, actually, if it has any reprints as well. Infernal Prodigy, because I only clicked the link to the super rare. And there's two different ones. Yeah, we got a rare out of a GX collection, and Immortal Destiny did give it a common, which is lower in quantities. Both of these surprisingly low and actually not bulk at all. So maybe there's a card you had that is worth a little more than you thought. But yeah, let me know what you think about this, and if it's seeing play elsewhere besides just weird niche past format maybes. And then finally, Burst of Destiny. People are asking me about my thoughts on this booster box going down a bit. Well, there's the waves. I warned you guys about that and how we've seen that interaction. And then also about the card prices, like, oh, Mo Yi's going down. I feel like I repeat myself a bit on Market Watch, but that's partially because Sword Soul is the top deck right now, but everybody who wants it for the most part has it, and people are looking forward to the future metas with Grand Creators and the, you know, Brave tokens and those kinds of things, among more quantities actually being out there on the market. I also would like to take the time to thank the upped quantities for keeping cards like Incredible Ecclesia more down in price despite Albaz hype, because this could be just spiking out there being played between all these multiple decks. And while 60 is still a lot, the cost of a box as a chase card, I think it could be a lot higher in the future, looking at other ridiculous buyouts around that deck. And then tons of cards just kind of chilling in price versus where they were spiking a ton, mainly thanks to the cool off of the winter market. And that I don't think it's Banlist Fear specifically with this deck, but there also is a lot of, oh, Protoss could go, this could go around this deck. They need to hit it indirectly, and we will see where the ban list lies. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. I know a lot of it was a bit of theory slash what people have been asking for, so hopefully you enjoyed some of the penny stonks. What do you think about more so the theory behind it, and also the uphill battle that a lot of people don't talk about with that? Hopefully that gave you a bit of insight to, oh yeah, I actually would have to be shipping out like 75 copies of this card. People don't always think about that back end with it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation, and we'll see you next time.